Breaking news. Explosions rock the Persian Gulf. The United States and Israel trade blame with Iran. Global markets plunge. These were the headlines flashing across TV screens and social media feeds. The world watched with growing fear as the Middle East crisis erupted overnight. Sirens wailed in Tel Aviv, while smoke rose above Iranian cities. At the same time, oil prices soared, and world leaders scrambled to respond. The situation escalated in just hours, catching many by surprise. Just days before, diplomats had spoken of progress and restraint. Now, missiles and drones filled the sky. Tensions that had simmered for years finally boiled over. In minutes, hopes for peace were replaced by fear of a much larger war. Reporters broadcast live from cities across the region. Footage showed frightened families fleeing into shelters. Soldiers moved to the front lines, their faces hard with determination. The world waited, anxious, as leaders issued warnings and threats. This was no distant conflict. The escalation between the United States, Israel, and Iran was now the top story everywhere. The world wanted to know, how did things get so bad, so fast? The roots of the crisis go back years, but recent events set the region alight. It began with a series of attacks on shipping in the Persian Gulf. United States officials blamed Iran, while Iran claimed self-defense. Israel launched airstrikes on Iranian targets in Syria, saying it was to stop missile attacks. Each side accused the other of aggression. The United States sent warships and troops to the region. Iran responded by mobilizing its Revolutionary Guard. Israeli leaders warned they would not back down. The cycle of action and reaction made compromise hard. As threats increased, mistakes became more likely. A single missile or drone strike could trigger a full-scale conflict. That's exactly what happened when a United States convoy was hit by a roadside bomb in Iraq. The United States responded with airstrikes, killing several Iranian officers. Iran vowed revenge, and violence spread quickly. The crisis was now out of control. Each country felt it had no choice but to respond with force. The region, already unstable, tipped towards chaos almost overnight. Amid the chaos, there was a glimmer of hope. After days of fighting, Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon agreed to a ceasefire. The deal, brokered with United States help, was supposed to end rocket attacks and give civilians a break from violence. Fireworks and cheers greeted the news in Beirut, but not everyone was convinced. Hezbollah leaders called the ceasefire a pause, not peace. Many Lebanese feared it would not hold. Within hours, both sides accused each other of breaking the deal. Israel said rockets were still being fired from Lebanon. The Lebanese army reported Israeli shelling near the border. United Nations observers urged calm, but tension was high. The ceasefire was only a thin shield, ready to break at any time. Both Israel and Hezbollah kept their fighters on alert, just in case. The people of Lebanon hoped for peace, but braced for the worst. The ceasefire showed how hard it is to make peace in the region. Distrust runs deep, and every truce is fragile. With bigger powers involved, the risk of renewed fighting remained very real. With violence spreading, world leaders rushed to stop the crisis from growing. The United States sent high-level diplomats to the region, hoping to open talks with Iran. President Trump said he wanted peace, but also warned of swift action if United States interests were attacked. Iran, for its part, demanded the lifting of sanctions before any new talks. Europe joined the diplomatic push. Leaders from Britain, France, and Germany called for restraint. They warned that a wider war would be disastrous for everyone. The United Nations held emergency meetings, urging all sides to respect international law and protect civilians. Talks were tense and progress was slow. Each country had its own demands and red lines. Iran accused the United States of maximum pressure and refused direct talks. Israel said it would not accept any agreement that left it vulnerable to attack. Despite these hurdles, all sides agreed on one thing: more fighting would bring only more pain. Diplomacy offered hope, but mistrust and anger made it tough. The region watched closely, knowing that a single misstep could undo all progress overnight. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway, but its importance is, well, huge. Every day, millions of barrels of oil pass through it. When Iran closed the strait in response to US actions, the world was stunned. Iranian gunboats patrolled the area, warning ships to stay away. Foreign navies moved in, raising the risk of clashes. The US responded by sending more warships and declaring a blockade. Shipping companies scrambled to reroute vessels, but many were trapped. Some daring captains tried to slip through, risking attack. Reports of missiles hitting tankers surfaced, adding to the fear. Iran later announced it would reopen the strait during the Lebanon ceasefire, but trust was low. Many ships remained anchored, waiting for clear signals. Insurance costs for shipping soared. Analysts warned that another closure could cripple global energy supplies. The standoff at Hormuz showed how quickly a local crisis can affect the whole world. One wrong move could have sparked a wider war and global economic shock. Attacks on ships in the Gulf region caused panic in the shipping world. Merchant sailors feared for their lives as missiles and drones targeted vessels. Some ships were hit and caught fire. Crews sent distress calls, not knowing if help would arrive in time. The United States and its allies tried to patrol the sea routes. They formed a coalition to escort ships through dangerous waters. Still, the threat was ever present. Insurance rates for ships jumped, and some companies stopped sailing through the Gulf. This disrupted trade and raised prices worldwide. Maritime security experts warned that the situation could spiral out of control. A mistake or misunderstanding at sea could bring navies into direct conflict. The presence of so many warships made the region a powder keg. The world's dependence on these sea routes made the crisis a global problem. Keeping the shipping lanes safe became a top priority for leaders everywhere. As the fighting spread, civilians paid the highest price. In Iran alone, more than 3,400 people died in just a few weeks. Many were soldiers, but hundreds were women and children caught in the crossfire. Hospitals struggled to treat the wounded as supplies ran low. In Lebanon, families fled their homes, seeking shelter from rockets and shellfire. Schools and clinics were damaged or destroyed. Aid groups tried to help, but security risks made their work nearly impossible. Food, water, and medicine were often hard to find. Refugee camps grew as people escaped the violence. The United Nations sounded the alarm about a growing humanitarian disaster. Children were especially vulnerable, lacking safe places to sleep or play. The crisis showed that wars are never just about armies and leaders. Ordinary people always suffer most, and their needs often go unmet during times of conflict. Even with ceasefires and talks, the region remained tense. Each side accused the other of breaking promises. Troops stayed on high alert, and weapons remained pointed. Small clashes and rocket fire threatened to shatter peace at any moment. International observers warned of, sleepwalking into a wider war. The risk of a single event spiraling out of control was high. Any new attack could bring more countries into the fight. Some feared that the violence could spread across the Middle East and beyond. Leaders faced hard choices. Should they push for more talks or prepare for war? The world's attention kept pressure on all sides, but old hatreds and new wounds made trust hard to rebuild. The situation was far from stable. Each day brought new dangers and unknowns, keeping the world on edge. The coming weeks will be critical for the Middle East. Will leaders find a way to stop the fighting for good, or will violence return? The ceasefires could collapse, or they could be the first step toward a broader peace. Diplomats will keep working, but success will depend on trust and compromise. Civilians hope for calm so they can rebuild their lives. The world will keep watching, knowing that what happens in the region affects everyone. Oil prices, trade, and security are all linked to the outcome. If talks fail, the conflict could grow even worse. If peace holds, there is a chance to start healing the wounds of war. For now, the region stands at a crossroads. The choices made today will shape the future for millions, and for the world beyond.